This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph, and we're holding on Mem Beis Amud Aleph about 12 lines down at the two dots, continuing our discussion, a difficult discussion of Bishul on Shabbos, and most particularly the mixing of waters, cold water into hot water into cold water. Is it done for cooking? Is it done for washing? Etc. Etc. Says the Gemara, Avol Noisein, quoting the Mishnah, that you're allowed to put cold water either into the kumkum or into a kais, the kli sheni. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Gemara, you're allowed to put cham into sainim, hot into cold, v'loy tzayin into cham into Beis Shammai, but not the reverse. Says Beis Shammai, and this is Taisus' explanation, and there's lots of mefarshim necessary over here. We'll try to do a little bit. But says Beis Shammai, you can put hot into cold. From where? Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni. It would sound like even from a Kli Rishon. But in the reverse, cold into hot, it would sound like as well is Aser on the other angle, which would even be in Kli Sheni. That's Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel teaches Beis Hillel. Whether you're putting hot into cold or cold into hot, both are mutter. But what is that? The kais. Only if you are mixing it into a kais. Why? Because when you mix it into a kais, says Rashi, you want it not that hot. Why not? Because you don't want it to burn yourself. Number one. Number two, when you're mixing it in the kais, you're mixing it in ikli sheni. Says Beis Hillel, that is mutter. Avu be'ambati, but into the bathhouse, then only cham chamin. Whereas Rav Shimon ben Menasya oiser, Amar Rav Nachman, halach Rav Shimon ben Menasya. So what exactly Rav Shimon ben Menasya holds is not perfectly clear, because he just says it's aser. Is he going in the case of the bathtub, or is he going in the case of the kais? Again, let's make this detail clear, because this is where the Gemara is going to go to in a moment. Beis Hillel said, you're allowed to put hot into cold, cold into hot, if it's bekais, again, drinking kli sheni, but be'ambati, then they're aser. Rosh Shimon ben Menasya just says aser. So is he coming along and saying that in the ambati, that which Beis Hillel was meikol, which is hot into cold, is aser? Or is Rosh Shimon ben Menasya saying the first part of Beis Hillel, cold into hot and hot into cold, in a kais, is aser? We'll see the Gemara in a moment. And of course, it's critically important, as Rav Nachman just taught us, the halacha is like Rosh Shimon ben Menasya. So says the Gemara, says Rav Yosef, that, says Rav Yosef, he thought that a seifel, a wash basin, is like an ambati. Amrli Abaya, Tani Rav Chia, seifel, eino kambati. So machlekes, what is a pot? What is a bucket that you're washing yourself with on a smaller level? Is it kambati or not? Well, the might tell you that they make out a seifel already kambati. Says the Gemara. Originally, you just told me, Rav Yosef, that seifel is yes like an abati. V'amar Rav Nachman. Now we're going to put it all together. Rav Nachman taught us a moment ago. Halacha Rav Shimon ben Menasya, which is what? That it's aser. Which we think right now, what is aser? Even hot into cold in a bath. Says the Gemara, something here doesn't make any sense. El b'Shabbos, rechitza b'chamim leka. There's no possibility of rechitza. So you're telling me a seifel is like an ambati, a bucket, a wash basin, rechitza washing is like an ambati. Shimon ben Menasya said it's aser. It's aser. You're not allowed to wash yourself b'chlal in Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Mi savar. Shimon HaSeifa. Do you think that Shimon ben Menasya is going on the Seifa, is going on the case of the Ambati? No! Areisha Koi. That what? Beis Hillel came along. And what did Beis Hillel teach us? He taught us that when it comes to a kais, whether it's klisheni, whether it's because you're drinking it, said Beis Hillel, it's all mutter. On that, Rav Shimon ben Asya oiser tzayli toichamin. Shimon Asya says to put cold water into hot water is going to be ulcer. But with regarding to Ambati, regarding to the Seifel, Shimon Asya is not getting involved. Says the Gemara, 1 second. If you're telling me Shimon Asya is going back on the Reisha Beis Hillel, and he's paskening not like Beis Hillel, what does that sound like he's paskening like? Lamer Shimon Asya, don't be Shammai. Hachi Kamar. So says the Gemara, no. Shimon ben Asya is coming to create the path between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Says Shimon ben Asya, Lo nechu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel b'davar zeh, that Beis Hillel himself is a maskim, it's aser. Even though Beis Hillel says Beis is mutter, Shimon ben Asya is modifying that. Shimon ben Asya says that Beis Hillel is only allowing chamin l'toich sainim. But if to put cold water into hot water, that, says Rav Shimon ben Asya, Beis Hillel is going to be maskim, is going to be a problem. And the simple reason, without getting involved, whether we're dealing with Kli Rishon, whether we're dealing with Kli Sheni, etc. So whenever you put cold into hot, very quickly, it cooks up the cold water. That, Rav Shimon ben Asya says, even according to Beis Hillel, is going to be aser. As we wrap up this Amid, I saw Rava, and guess what? He was not makbid almana on a vessel. What does that mean? That means on a kli sheni, he was not makbid. Cold into hot, hot into cold, and even cold into hot. Says the Gemara, Militani Rav Chia. Where did Rava get this? For the fact that Rav Chia said, you can put water into a basin. So see it clearly in a seifel, in a klisheni, you can do what you want. So Rava said that's psak halacha. Maybe that case is different because over there is a separate kli. The case of Rav Chia was a kita in the shel mayim into the seifel. So the kita shel mayim is another kli. So, but how do we know? Meaning, what was the case of Rav Chia? That you were taking the kitayin and putting it into the seifel. If you're watching, you'll see the visual. That you're taking a cup and putting the cup into the hot water. So the kli is the hefsek, is another level separating. But how do you know you can actually be shoifech? You could pour the cold into hot. Amar lei. Says Rav Ashi, Ma'ara itmar. The brisa, the way that we had it, said Ma'ara. You could pour, meaning Ma'ara. And that's where Rava got the fact that everything is going to be mutter. How to call the cold into hot. Of course, how this translates into halach l'mais is not so simple. We'll pick it up from the Mishnah, B'siyata Dishmaya.